leave Justin alone? Boy, not the right time to be sticking up for Justin Timberlake, huh? Yeah, while I was recording this episode, that idiot got a DUI right as I was gonna try and defend him, which, thanks a lot, fuckhead. Honestly, it wasn't much of a defense anyway. I just don't think it's some humongous outrage that he had a career like a lot of people seem to feel.
I hate Justin Timberlake, and I'm not afraid to ruin a party over it, okay? He's not good. He's not good. He built his career on appropriating black culture and on the backs of two pop icons and national treasures. Say it with me. Britney Spears and Janet Jackson.
I mean, yeah, we all know what the backlash comes from. The Britney thing, the Janet thing. Yes, I've heard what Britney has said about him. None of it makes him look good, and he said plenty about her, so she's perfectly within her rights to fire back. But I just cannot care about a messy breakup between 19-year-olds 20 years ago. Didn't care then, don't care now. I think this would be old drama for everyone else too, except it's just gotten conflated with all the other bad things that happened to Britney. Just like Justin is taking the heat for Janet's career ending. Like, yes, I get that he didn't stand up for her, but we were not all sitting around waiting for Justin Timberlake to take a bullet for Janet or like fall on his sword. We were waiting to see what Justin would say. Like, Janet's career was ended by a vengeful media mogul. Britney was put into an abusive conservatorship by her father, and I just feel like it's more satisfying to displace that anger onto the most famous person in the story rather than Jamie Spears or Les Moonves or Perez Hilton or a million conservative uptight Super Bowl viewers or the entire culture being weird about Britney Spears. Well, like I said, it's not a humongous defense to say that he's only a minor villain rather than the main villain. Like, I'm not trying to die on the hill of Justin Timberlake. I'm not saying he's owed forgiveness or that people need to like him again. I don't believe that. And also, Justin has made himself hard to root for other reasons also. One of the other major revelations from Britney Spears' memoir is that Justin Timberlake is fucking lame.
Jay got all excited and said so loud, "Oh yeah, faux shiz, genuine, what's up, homie?"
This one, I would find it harder to defend him from. Which, hold on, shouldn't that be the easy argument? I'm bringing sexy back. Justin Timberlake was widely considered one of the coolest men alive for a decade or more. He said that he brought sexy back, and we all just let him say it. We all agreed that was a reasonable thing for him to say. In 2008, it seemed clear that he would be a generational pop star, one of the defining artists of our time. And if he had still been that effortlessly cool 10 years later, he'd be fine. In 2018, the backlash was really starting to brew, but many artists' careers have survived much worse scandals, usually because they were still putting out good music that was still selling. My opinion is that the Justin backlash would be only some grumbling from stans if he had kept making bangers the level of what he was making in the 2000s. What he actually released was this.
I brag about you to anyone outside, but I'm a man of the woods, it's my pride.
In 2018, Justin Timberlake dropped his 5th album, Man of the Woods, and it is probably in the top 3 defining flops that happened during my career, maybe even top 2. In a world where Katy Perry's Witness didn't exist, we would call flop eras Man of the Woods eras. To this day, it remains a bafflingly misconceived project. It's not just that the music was bad, although a lot of it was also just a bizarre attempt at rebranding himself into like a southern Appalachian mountain man. He was talking this up a lot. There was a lot of beard and plaid and grass. He was like working with country singers. It was, I don't even know what this was. At a time when Justin needed more than ever to be on his game, he chopped himself down at the knees.
Hey, if you know what's good.
I know what's good. You know what's good, Justin? Do you? Justin Timberlake shouts timber and goes down like a falling oak. This is Train Records.
"2006. It wasn't so long ago. In case you forgot, Justin Timberlake released Future Sex Love Sounds.
And that was the last time Justin Timberlake released an album.
Every day without a new Justin Timberlake album
Feels like an eternity.
feels pointless.
Hopeless.
Unsexy.
You all fucking love Justin Timberlake. You adored him, every last one of you. All right, maybe not all of you, especially you fetuses who watch my videos, but I feel like people have forgotten how beloved he was.
I haven't had an orgasm in 3 years.
I don't know how to pleasure myself to Bruno Mars.
I've never.
This viral video begging Justin to bring Sexy back is from 2011. And I think that's as good a place to start because that was probably the absolute peak of desire for Justin Timberlake when he hadn't made music in 5 years. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And by that point, people were starving for JT. But Justin was focused on his only intermittently successful acting career, so no album would come that year, nor the next. It wouldn't come until 2013, and the response was rapturous.
I can't wait till I get you on the floor.
At first.
Come on.
Where Justin's last album, 2006's Future Sex Love Sounds, was a mainstay on radio for 2 years with 3 number ones, 2013's back-to-back twin album set, The 2020 Experience, never quite hit those heights. Only 2 songs, arguably only 1 song was a huge hit, none of them number 1, the rest barely reaching middling chart level. I think the long hiatus worked against him. It had built up anticipation, but then all of a sudden we realized we'd lived this long without Justin Timberlake, we could probably keep living without him. But to me, the most damaging thing to the fandom wasn't any of those underperforming singles from that album. It was the number 1 hit that followed.
I got this feeling inside my bones.
This is Can't Stop the Feeling, his hit single from the animated movie Trolls, and it was fine. Decent little bop. I didn't turn it off when it came on. But it was also a song from a kid's movie, and it sounded like it. And with Justin only getting older, it seemed very obvious that Justin Timberlake wasn't cool anymore. Now, no one stays as hot as they were when they were in their mid-20s. But listeners weren't the only one noticing Justin getting older. I think he was feeling his age too. At this point he was a married man, he had a kid, and in fact his son Silas directly inspired his new direction.
What does your son's name mean? And I literally just went on Google, like, meaning of the name Silas, and it said, of Latin origin, meaning man of the woods.
And there it is.
And I was like, how serendipitous that my last name is Timberlake, like, what does that mean? Like,
I don't think that means anything, man. I think that's a coincidence. Frank Ocean doesn't have to write sea shanties. But apparently Timberlake went nuts for this idea, and for the next few months, even before we heard any new music, we were hearing all about Justin Timberlake, king of the wild frontier.
Born on the mountaintop in Tennessee, greenest state in the land of the free, raised in the woods so's he knew every tree.
Yeah, every new photo had him dressed like the brawny man, every promo looked like a North Face ad. At the listening party, he made everyone eat bugs, you know, like the country folk do. He was talking about his country roots.
and that sound that feels like heritage, that is me exercising my love for where I came from.
I mean, it sounded ridiculous to me. As far as I'm concerned, his roots were in Orlando, Florida. But this is what we were being sold. What we were all prepared for was the big country music turn that every aging star eventually does. Came a little early for Justin, but it wasn't this big shock. That's what we were prepared for. And this is what we got. Man of the wood paneling, I guess. This seems literally the exact opposite from what we were promised. You know, an album from a man living in the country. It's not even the right country. But honestly, I wasn't really looking forward to that anyway. Like, the name of the song, we were told, was Filthy. And you know what? Thank God, right? I wasn't actually looking forward to Square Dance Justin. We want to get it dirty up in here. That's what we want from Justin Timberlake, right?
Put your hands all over me. No, this ain't the clean version. What you gonna do with all that meat? Cooking, let's go say it's fake. Something real.
Haters did not say it was fake. They did say a lot of other things, though. And there were a lot more haters than Justin realized. This is my third video where I have to talk about Filthy in depth. Sometimes life just takes you weird places, you know? I was very harsh on it at the time, but I've been harsh on many things. I regret some of them, so I appreciate the chance to see if my feelings on this one has changed at all. It should not surprise you to find out that they have not. Okay, but it is though. It is the clean version. There are no dirty words in it. And if this was the dirty version, what would the other version sound like? Yes, this is the clean version. Like I said, I've had to talk about this a few times, but I don't think I mentioned how bad the video is. For some reason, he gave up the Man of the Woods thing entirely, and instead he's like fake Steve Jobs doing a product reveal, and that product is a hideous CGI Robo-Justin. Like, Steve Jobs did a lot of things, but he didn't bring sexy back. So I don't know why that's what you're emulating here. And this robot is, you know, it's not even a cool robot. Even the audience doesn't look very impressed. What am I gonna do with that? What am I gonna do with a dancing robot? Store it next to my Segway in the garage? Also, the beat is awful. Like, there's probably a separate video to be made tracking the downfall of Timbaland, who peaked more or less with Justin in the late 2000s and ended up making a whole lot of shit after. You know, want to see the last thing I saw from him?
Find me in the club, holla at your ape. You want her in the game, calling out my name. You can find me in the BAYC shining.
I wish I were joking. Like, this is obviously modeled on Sexy Back, which I never liked that song, but it does kind of bulldoze over you, so you can't really object to it. Here, the beat totters around like a seasick drunk going whob, whob, whob about 6 years after dubstep fell out of style. Justin, did you seriously think people were gonna like that?
Like, when that drops, you watch, like, everyone's face look like they want to their pants.
Yeah, it'll make you... Wait, they make you want to shit your pants? Why would I want to I guess that would be filthy. But for all that Timbaland fails, the true failure has to go to Justin himself. It feels like he has lost touch with everything that made him cool. At no point in his career had he ever written anything this bad. Filthy hands sounds like you're talking about a kid who blew his nose on his hand, which is bad on its own. It's also bad with all the food imagery. I mean, seriously, wash your filthy hands before you cook. I'm not eating that. Swagger back. No, you don't. You do not. Your claim is contradicted by the evidence. Filthy debuted at a surprisingly low number 9 and then plummeted off the cliff like Wile E. Coyote. But it's 2018. By this point, everyone knows that you dropped 2 singles in advance to double your odds. Timberlake knew this. He was ready. He was prepared. He had supplies. Director Dave Meyers. That's already a bad sign. Enemy for life, Dave Meyers.
Yo. Ain't no need to stop and go.
Oh no. Oh no.
Bet you out on Broadway on the hottest night in town.
Folks, Justin Timberlake has thoughts about the state of the world. Take that, 1%er. Now this sure doesn't look very woodsy either, but he's going somewhere with this. And in fact, here we see the first hints of the conceit of the album. See, it's not just a clumsy transition towards middle age. No, this Man of the Woods shit is a reflection of current events. Why is he a man of the woods? Because it's 2018 and the world feels like it's collapsing for all the reasons you see there. But if society does end, don't worry, baby. He's prepared. He's got supplies.
Shit's about to go down. I'll be the one with the level head. We're working it now, baby. We'll be living in the Walking Dead.
That's right. By Man of the Woods, he means doomsday prepper.
I'll be the light when you can't see. I'll be the wood when you need heat. I'll be the generator, turn me on when you need electricity.
See, like, the tone of the song implies that he has drugs and money, but the actual lyrics are about, like, electricity and potable water. And ladies, can you resist the guy who's got a massive stockpile of canned beans? Rawr.
Multiple times. Stop. Yeah.
For the record, I do remember how crazy the Trump years were. We were all there. I don't know that this is a particularly worthy or appropriate response. Like, look at this shit. Me Too, Muslim ban, Freddie Gray. Freddie Gray was beaten to death in a police wagon. And Justin's out here with the same goofy expression he has when he's doing bits with Jimmy Fallon. And his message is, well, I'm gonna be okay. I got supplies. Like, this should have been the cause of all the Justin backlash, and it would have been if anyone had bothered to notice. And I'm sorry, we gotta talk about Pharrell here. Now, Pharrell's hit rate hadn't become as disastrous as Timbaland's, but Pharrell and the Neptunes do have like a surprisingly large amount of total duds. This is one of them. I don't think this track works at all. Lots of artists had trouble adapting to the moody, downbeat backlash to the dance pop era. It's just not Justin's wheelhouse, arguably not Pharrell's either. I just don't think there's a way to make Justin Timberlake's swagger fit in a Halsey Post Malone world. Honestly, it comes off really insulting.
You're still asleep. Wake up.
Fuck you. Like, we will never know where he was going with this whole computer glitch thing, because after both songs bricked, this was dropped pretty quickly. Well, that was what Justin dropped on us to start. The album proper dropped a week later. Now, I have heard a bit of, counter backlash that, the album is better than its reputation, or it's better than its singles at least. So let's see. First, we start Filthy. But on the album, it ends, and then we get like 10 seconds of wildlife sounds.
Do you see me?
Almost as if the album is saying, okay, please forget that happened. We're gonna start over here. Mulligan. Now we got the album proper. Let's hear it.
It's just let's dance, y'all. Come on. So thick, but we don't give a damn.
Midnight Summer Jam is the first woodsy song in the album, in that it has what might be a fiddle in the background, and the lyrics about partying have a vaguely hoedown vibe.
Circles on and do-si-do, and then we sway.
And a killer harmonica solo. This is, I think, rightfully considered one of the highlights. I'd go to bat for it, and it kind of makes me think this album could work. Except for this part that he keeps repeating.
Y'all can't do better than this. Y'all can't do better than this. Y'all can't do better than this. Act like the South ain't the shit. Act like the South ain't the shit. Act like the South ain't the shit.
Who are you talking to?
Act like the South ain't the shit. Y'all can't.
Who are you clapping back at? At this point, the South had been running music for 20 years. It doesn't need defending, especially from you, Justin Timberlake. You've been repping your country roots for all of 2 seconds. I guess he does have country music roots, because he sure picked up the whole being defensive over nothing thing that country guys like to do.
We stand for the flag, and if you don't like it, we don't care.
Yeah, you fit right in, Justin. The next track is called Sauce.
Sauce. You got all of it.
Barbecue sauce. Wow. What he actually means by sauce comes from a viral video from the year before, which he plays before the song.
Juice is temporary. Anyone can obtain the juice or something. I mean, you could say that just because you got a nice car, so I'm like, oh man, you got the juice. It's something that kind of comes and goes. Sauce is forever.
Sauce.
Some people are only cool temporarily, you say. Oh boy, I hope that observation doesn't haunt this album. Also, it's funny that Sauce has pathetic numbers on streaming versus Juice, which took off the next year.
I love your pink. You like my purple.
Repulsive. You took 5 years to make this? Okay, hold on. Why does Justin take forever to make music? Why is he seemingly so resistant to get back to singing?
'Cause singing killed my grandma, okay?
No, but he has a reason. Back when he was being begged to come back, he explained the delay, which he doesn't like touring. It's exhausting, it takes a lot of energy, it's just really hard, especially if you don't have the songs for it. Honestly, that's surprising to me, because if I had to tell you Justin Timberlake's true medium, it's the live show. Recording artist? Yeah, he's had a solid collection of bops. Actor? I've seen him be good in things. Musical sketch comedian?
It's my in a box.
Some of his finest work. But the concert stage, that is where he truly belongs. You see him perform live, you will think he never had a bad show in his life. And yet, on the biggest stage of all, he had a very bad night indeed.
This is the Pepsi that brings you the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show!
In February, Justin Timberlake played the goddamn Super Bowl. I imagine for him it was a night that he could put right what once went wrong. Allegedly, he asked Janet Jackson to join him. She declined. Instead, it was just about the worst thing he could do. A horrible reminder for many of all the things he'd gotten away with. I saw more than one person describe it as returning to the scene of the crime.
Stop.
Honestly, I remember thinking it wasn't that bad, despite the fact that he began it with his awful new song. But this was not the majority opinion.
Justin Timberlake's halftime show.
Even normal, non-stan people that I knew in real life told me it sucked. I'm not sure what it was in hindsight. It might have been that he was wearing the world's stupidest fucking outfit. How are you gonna sing suit and tie when your suit and tie is a camo blazer and a bandana? I mean, there's your wardrobe malfunction. What the fuck is that? He was in Minneapolis, so he shouted out to Prince, which made people angry because he and Prince had once traded a couple jabs at each other. Another thing people made too much out of, honestly. The LA Times complained that he had nothing to say, which, I'm sorry, that's a bizarre thing to say about a halftime show. What I take from that is just the same problem that I have, even with this album's good tracks. People were just kind of sick of Justin Timberlake in general. Like, you look at the credits, it's nothing but Timbaland and the Neptunes, the same people who brought him here to the dance, but it all feels like it's been done. Even with the country makeover, it sounds like stuff he's done before. It feels like he's not being pushed into anywhere new. Like we've got all the Justin Timberlake we would ever need.
You're so old and out of touch, Donaghy. I might as well be looking at Justin Timberlake.
Okay, what else we got coming up here? Higher, Higher, which is about how hot his wife is. Money's fine, I guess. Yeah, eat me. I mean, money's pretty important. It gets you supply-yis. Something called Wave.
Let's go to an island. Like we did last year, catch a vibe.
What do you have to beach? I thought you were a man of the woods. Like his whole Southern man shtick, he is at least able to say that he is from Memphis, Tennessee, but that's very far away from anywhere with waves, all right? It's like even he doesn't think he can be pulling this off. Why is he doing this? Actually, why don't we roll back a bit to explain how we got here?
Bittersweet thing, could this be a dream?
Justin did have one rootsy song before this, a blues type track on the previous album called Drink You Away.
Can't drink you away.
Late in that album cycle, Timberlake made a stab at getting it on country radio, including a performance at the CMAs alongside a critically acclaimed but commercially under-the-radar artist named Chris Stapleton, who would have a big breakthrough night that show and win several awards before doing his duet with Justin. This is actually a two-song performance. Before Timberlake's song, they will perform one of Stapleton's. Not one of the singles, but a deep cut from Stapleton's new album.
Get your feet, Nashville, for Chris Stapleton, and it's Justin Timberlake.
Tennessee whiskey.
For the next couple weeks after this, that song, Tennessee Whiskey, would top the digital download charts and reach the top 20 on the Hot 100. And over the next couple years, it would become a cover band and TV talent show standard and just continually grow in stature until the present day, where it is now the most beloved country song of the past 10 years.
You're a sweet strawberry wine.
And it was shepherded to popularity by Justin fucking Timberlake.
Like your love to get me high.
I guess maybe Timberlake thought that this was an endorsement of his own ability to do this kind of music, which, I don't know, man. Were you instrumental in this song's rise, or were you just there when it happened? Nevertheless, he was now like close friends with Stapleton, so he put together a duet.
Everyone knows all about my direction.
So here we have it, the hit. This album had an actual honest-to-God hit. Not a huge hit, but it did get to the top 10 and it lasted a good while. It had legs, people forget that. So big was the failure of this album that it even erased his own success.
Say something and say something. I don't wanna get caught up in the rhythm of it.
You know, I remember liking it. It's a good song, I think. Funny thing though, I asked a buddy of mine to listen to this album so I could have someone to talk about it with, and he got to this song and he asked me a question. Is this song about Trump?
Everybody say something, say something, say something, say.
Like, it's weird to think of Man of the Woods as a Trump era record, but its failure is definitely inextricable with this moment in time. It came out at a time when all the celebrities were being pressured to make some kind of statement, and I want to be clear that I am fully about celebrities keeping their thoughts to their goddamn selves if that's what they want to do. Many celebrities are very stupid and you don't want to hear what they think. But also, if you're gonna shut up, then shut up. I have no interest in you whining about being pressured about it.
Sometimes the greatest way to say something is to say nothing at all.
No, that's not true. The best way to say something is to say something, if politics is what this song's about. But here's a possibility I came up with. Is this about Britney? Or Janet?
All about my transgression.
Like he's hinting that he's got his side of it that he wants to reveal, but he can't or he shouldn't? Maybe. I guess we'll never know. Even though this was the hit, I didn't see anyone speculating at all about what he was hinting at here. If this was a subliminal, it stayed subliminal. No one cared what this song was about, or even noticed that it might be about something. Saying nothing at all did nothing at all for Justin.
Maybe I'm looking for something I can't have.
Like, to me, this is very clearly Justin's song, with Stapleton's earthy masculinity borrowed for credibility, but it's Timberlake's vibe, his lyrics, his producers, and yet it only seemed to benefit Stapleton. In fact, since I was barely paying attention at all to country in the 2010s, this is maybe the first time I had heard of Chris Stapleton. Like, this song did not cross over to country music at all. Stapleton crossed over to pop. His elevator kept going up, and Justin's kept going down. Anyway, more songs. Boring Alicia Keys duet, and then something called Hers.
When I wear his shirt, it feels like his skin over mine.
Oh, it's a spoken interlude, okay. This is Justin Timberlake's actual wife, attempted movie star and future Hard Jeopardy question Jessica Biel. And it's about wearing her husband's shirt.
I feel like I understand more when it's against my skin. It's an armor, like a barrier from the world.
Did a high schooler write this about her boyfriend during lunch? I'm sorry.
And I like that, you know? It makes me feel like a woman. It makes me feel sexy. It makes me feel... It makes me feel like I'm his.
Right after this, we get another song about his clothing called Flannel, about his flannel that he's always wearing, that he was definitely known for before now, and how he'll protect you just like his trusty flannel has always kept him warm.
It will keep you warm.
I think Adam Sandler wrote a song like this as a joke once. And there was one that I skipped we should circle back to because it is the final single, the title track.
I brag about you to anyone outside.
I was not aware this was a single. By the time this video came out, Man of the Woods was already an infamous bomb. I would have gone with literally any other song as a single just because it wouldn't have the same name as the album. Like, maybe you can trick people into thinking that that era's done and we're starting over. Can't do that with this one.
I brag about you to anyone outside, but I'm a man of the woods, it's my pride.
This was obviously a mistake. You don't want to put out the novelty song when you're already struggling with being seen as goofy and lame.
But then your hands talking, fingers walking.
The sound is this full-on jug band thing. The video looks like an Old Spice commercial.
I'm a man. And I smell like a man.
He dances with his weird anti-vax wife. I guess he felt he had to release it to show that he's a man. Like, even he's apologetic.
Sorry, baby. Ooh, you know I tried. But I'm a man of the woods, it's my pride.
I'm sorry, I tried not to, I gotta. Like, everyone was begging him not to do this whole lumberjack thing. Justin says this was the first song in the album he wrote, and it dictated the entire theme of the album, which is amazing because it's just absolute garbage nonsense. Being a man of the woods has absolutely nothing to do with the lyrics, which are about fucking.
But then your hands talking, fingers walking down your legs. Hey, there's the faucet, someone's knocking like they know.
Hey, look, I'm happy for the gig, but who wrote this?
I did.
I can only assume that he and Pharrell wrote this while drinking from a big jug labeled XXX, because it is like hillbilly stupid to think this dumbass novelty song is something you should base an entire record on. At this point, literally everyone had turned the album off, which is a shame because honestly, there's some stuff on the back end there that I like a lot. Like, there's one honestly really good song on there called Montana. There's more in there that are like genuinely good. Breeze Off the Pond. Living Off the Land, that's another good one if you can stomach Justin singing about being a broke mountaineer. The entire R&B for the outdoors concept actually comes alive in the final third. I think you can make a case that this album has more good songs than 2020 Experience, honestly. It's just that by this point, it's far too little too late. And there's a touching little song on there that finishes the album that's addressed to his son. And I think Justin being a dad has to be considered the whole point of this album. This is just armchair psychology, but I kind of wonder if he was having some kind of like crisis of masculinity. And you could already kind of see it in the 2020 Experience and the whole Rat Pack thing he was doing. Ex-boy band members loved the Rat Pack. Lets you shed your teen idol phase and show that you're a real bros bro, even though you sing and dance for a living. But he could pull that off. Hanging around with Chris Stapleton did the opposite. It just made it obvious how much he wasn't that guy. The beard, the flannel, whatever, he still looks like the same kid from 2002. He's always gonna be the same guy I saw crying after being punked by Ashton Kutcher. The girl parts on Senorita are always gonna sound closer to his actual voice than the guy parts.
Ladies go, I don't know what I'm thinking about.
Like, there's nothing wrong with being a pretty boy with a high tenor voice. The actual image problem he needed to fix is that everyone thinks he's a backstabbing weasel, but he wouldn't figure that one out until it was too late. And it's especially interesting now that we have another big name R&B/country album to compare it to. Like, just a few months ago, Beyonce made her country album, and whether or not you like that record, she more or less got away with it, partly because she came in on the offensive. She had thoughts about the history and racial politics of roots music. She had a point, unlike Justin, who did not. He came in cosplaying as Nick Offerman and demanding to be taken seriously. In the background, rumbling through all of this, was the stuff about Janet and how patently unfair it was that she took the brunt of it all and how this mediocre white man survived. I think the album tanking sent the Justin anti-fandom into overdrive. I imagine it feels really good to dislike Justin Timberlake because it worked. It stopped him. I still hate Chris Brown, and that's no fucking fun at all because he's still here. If you hate Justin Timberlake though, you are victorious. You did it. But I kind of wonder if that's got the cause and effect backwards. Like, the dog keeps barking at the mailman because the mailman always goes away, so the dog thinks he did that. But that's not what happened. Maybe no one did anything here. In a world where no one cared about Britney or Janet, I think I still would be talking about how Justin Timberlake tanked his career in 2018. It is not as terrible as its reputation. There are some good songs on there, but it's just never really convincing. And because Justin takes forever to record, he couldn't put it quickly behind him like Justin Bieber did with his flop era. I don't hate Justin Timberlake. I was kind of rooting for this last album so that people would be normal about Justin Timberlake again, but unfortunately it was fucking crap, so that's not happening. It's funny that tons of pop stars are going country now. Even Zayn from One Direction is trying his own Chris Stapleton-inspired album. Obviously, that's what Justin should be doing now too, and he would be if he hadn't already blown it the first time. I actually saw Justin Timberlake a few weeks ago. It was a great show, but he played most of his new album, which just isn't any good. I think his time is over. We have just outgrown the need for Justin Timberlake. He didn't have the sauce, and I don't know what else he could do, so my suggestion for him is to just stop. Just stop.
Sometimes I swear,